Space had always been humanity's greatest mystery, a vast, dark canvas stretching endlessly above our heads. For generations, we gazed at the stars, wondering, are we truly alone? We never imagined that somewhere in that cosmic ocean, an empire older than our own history had been watching us all along. When contact finally came, it wasn't with a message of peace or a hand of friendship. It was with the cold, hard calculation of conquerors, beings who had subjugated 1,000 worlds and saw Earth as just another entry in their long catalog of conquests. On the orbital defense platform Sentinel-7, Captain Rebecca Torres stood at the viewport, her dark eyes scanning the void. At 42, she was a veteran of the United Earth Space Command, a brilliant tactician with an uncanny intuition. Her fingers traced patterns on the transparent aluminum window, watching the distant stars, completely unaware that in mere moments, her entire reality and humanity's place in the universe was about to shatter. Suddenly, a deafening wail ripped through the station. Alarms blared, sending every crew member scrambling to their posts. Rebecca sprinted to the command center, her heart pounding in her chest as her eyes locked on to the main display. Impossible readings flooded the screen. 7 massive unknown vessels had appeared at the edge of the solar system. Their energy signatures were so powerful, they made Earth's most advanced warships look like children's toys. "Get me Director Hassan now." Rebecca's voice was a pillar of calm in a chaos, cutting through the adrenaline-fueled panic. Within seconds, the weathered face of Marcus Hassan, the Director of Planetary Defense, flickered onto her screen. His grim expression told her he was seeing the exact same thing. "Captain Torres," Hassan commanded, his voice tight, "hold your position. Maintain complete sensor silence. Do not engage under any circumstances. We need information before we do anything." Just then, Lieutenant James Park, the station's communications officer, turned from his console, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and awe. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. They're broadcasting on every frequency at once. They want us to know they're here." Rebecca gave a sharp, decisive nod. "Put it through." "Let's hear it." A voice filled the command center. It was deep, resonant, with an alien undertone that suggested a biology far different from our own. The words were in perfect English, yet the accent carried inflections no human throat could ever produce. "Primitive inhabitants of the third planet," the voice boomed. "I am Executor Vex of the Dominion Fleet. Your world has been located and cataloged by the Grand Collective. You will prepare to receive our representatives, who will assess your civilization's value. Resistance will be met with appropriate measures. You have 1 rotation of your planet to respond." The transmission cut out, leaving a heavy, suffocating silence in its wake. Every eye in the command center was fixed on Rebecca. She was the ranking officer on site, but a decision of this magnitude, this was for the leaders of the entire planet. "Park," she said, her voice unwavering, "get me a direct line to Geneva." Priority Alpha. She was invoking the emergency channel, the one reserved for events that threatened the very existence of humanity. Minutes later, she was in a virtual conference with the most powerful people on Earth. General William Chun, Supreme Commander of the Combined Military Forces, spoke first. "Captain Torres, what's your tactical assessment?" Rebecca pulled up the sensor data, her mind racing through 1,000 disastrous scenarios. "Sir, their ships are unlike anything we have. The energy output from just one of them exceeds our entire lunar defense grid. If they're hostile, if they decide to attack, our current defenses won't hold them for more than a few hours. Then we negotiate," insisted Ambassador Patricia Okonkwo, Earth's chief diplomat. "We buy time. We find out what they want." "With all due respect, Ambassador," Rebecca countered, "we'd be negotiating from a position of absolute weakness. They know it, and they will exploit it." Director Hassan's voice cut through the debate. "Not absolute weakness. Captain Torres, what I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest possible level. 10 years ago, Our deep space probes discovered an ancient, abandoned facility on Titan. We have been reverse engineering the technology we found there ever since. Rebecca felt her breath catch in her throat. Sir, are you saying we have capabilities they don't know about? Not just capabilities, Captain. We have ships. Real warships, hidden in secret facilities all across the outer solar system. The collective has no idea what we're truly capable of, because we've kept every significant advancement secret since we made that discovery on Titan. On her display, Hassan transmitted a series of access codes. Entire sections of classified data, previously hidden, unlocked before her eyes. Rebecca's jaw dropped as she absorbed the information. Humanity had been preparing for this exact moment for a decade, secretly building a fleet that incorporated alien technology thousands of years ahead of anything publicly known. The Phantom Initiative, she breathed, reading the file names aloud. You built an entire fleet in secret. 73 ships, Hassan confirmed grimly. Each one is equipped with technology that would make these Dominion invaders think twice about threatening us. But we need time to deploy them. And we need someone who can keep the collective distracted while we move our pieces onto the board. The implication was clear, and it landed on Rebecca with the weight of a dying star. You want me to meet with them, she said, the realization dawning on her. Play the part of the primitive, frightened human, while you prepare for war. Not war, Captain. Deterrence, Hassan corrected. If we can show them that an attack on Earth would be unacceptably costly, they might decide negotiation is the better option. He leaned closer to his camera, his gaze intense. We need you to be humanity's face in this. Make them believe we're helpless. Buy us 72 hours. Can you do that? Rebecca looked around the command center at her crew, young men and women who had signed up to protect their home, never imagining they would face a threat of this magnitude. She thought of her sister's children playing in a park in Snow Paulo, of the billions of people living their lives below, completely oblivious to the fact that their world was about to end or be saved. She took a deep breath, her resolve hardening like steel. I can do it, sir. Send me the protocols. As the connection ended, Rebecca turned to face her crew, her expression now a mask of pure determination. Listen up, everyone. What I am about to tell you does not leave this room. We're about to play the most important game of poker in human history, and we're holding cards our opponents don't even know exist. Here's what we're going to do. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. See you in the next one. The shuttle was a piece of junk, a deliberate choice. It was the oldest, most basic vessel Earth could spare, meant to scream one thing to the alien empire waiting for us. We're harmless. We wanted them to see a civilization that had barely stumbled into space. But inside that tin can, I was anything but harmless. My name is Rebecca Torres, Captain, and hidden beneath my uniform collar was a sophisticated neural interface. It was my direct line to Hassan and his intelligence team, my secret weapon. As we docked with the Dominion flagship, my stomach did a slow, painful flip. Executor Vex was waiting. He was a giant, nearly 3 meters tall, encased in armor that blurred the line between biology and tech. 4 arms, each ending in hands far more complex than mine, gestured me forward into a corridor of what looked like living metal. His voice hit me like a physical force, with harmonics that made my teeth ache. Captain Torres of Earth, he boomed. You are the representative your species sends to meet the Dominion. How interesting that they choose a military officer. Does this suggest you intend resistance? I channeled years of first contact training, keeping my face a perfect mask of neutrality. It suggests we recognize a military vessel when we see one executor. My superiors thought it was only right to meet you on equal terms. I'm authorized to speak for Earth's government. I couldn't read his expression, but I sensed something like amusement. He led me through hallways, that seemed to shift and breathe around us, walls rippling with light. We passed other beings, members of species swallowed by the Dominion. They wouldn't meet my eyes. Their fear and respect for Vex was a palpable thing in the air. We entered a massive chamber, a strategic heart filled with holographic star maps. Vex gestured to a central platform. "Your solar system is primitive, Captain Torres," he began, his voice dripping with condescension. "Your travel is crude. Your weapons barely a threat. Your population confined to a single planet. By every measure the collective uses, your species is at the bottom of the ladder." Anger and fear churned inside me, but I didn't let it show. This was the moment Hassan had prepped me for. Time to plant the first seed of doubt. "I won't argue with your assessment, Executor. We're a young species. We have much to learn. But I am curious. In all your conquests, have you ever encountered a species that surprised you?" For the first time, a flicker of hesitation. Surprises are rare when one has existed for millennia. "Why do you ask?" "Because," I said, my tone light and conversational, "I've read my own species' history. We have a tendency to be underestimated. It rarely ends well for those who dismiss us too quickly." He moved to a display, bringing up images of Earth. "You speak with confidence for someone whose entire world could be wiped out in hours. What makes you think you deserve consideration rather than simple assimilation?" This was it, the opening. I sent a subtle command through the neural link, and data flooded my mind. "Because we have something you need, Executor. Information." "Information?" He turned back, intrigued. What could a primitive species possibly possess that the collective lacks? I let a small, confident smile play on my lips. 10 years ago, we found something in our outer solar system. An artificial structure. Ancient. Abandoned. The technology inside was light years beyond us, but we've been studying it. Learning. And I suspect whoever built it predates even your collective. I watched him closely. His posture went completely still. Hassan's voice whispered in my mind through the link. "Good, you've got his attention. Now make him work for it." "The elder race," Vex said, his voice quiet, losing its booming arrogance. "You found one of their facilities. Is that what you call them?" We didn't have a name for the builders. But yes, we found it. And we've barely scratched the surface. The strange part is, some of the technology seems to respond only to humans. As if it was waiting for us. He moved closer, his sheer size an act of intimidation. I fought the urge to step back. "You will share this technology with the collective. Immediately. The knowledge of the elder race is too dangerous for a species like yours." "Perhaps," I agreed calmly, "or perhaps the fact that it responds to us suggests we have a role to play that you have unconsidered. Either way, I'm not authorized to share classified research. I'm just here to discuss peaceful coexistence." Suddenly, the chamber filled with more Dominion officers. Their collective gaze felt like a physical weight. Vex's voice regained its edge, a threat barely held in check. "You misunderstand your position, Captain. The collective does not negotiate. We assess and we integrate. Your discovery changes nothing except the speed with which we will take your world." Sweat beaded on my palms, but my voice remained steady. Through the link, Hassan was feeding me tactical updates. Our Phantom fleet, our real defense, was still deploying. They needed another 40 hours. I had to buy that time. "Then you'll be making a costly mistake, Executor. Because what I haven't mentioned is that we're not the only ones interested in that facility. There are others watching Earth, others who have been far more subtle than the Dominion. They've been waiting to see how we handle first contact with an aggressive force. It was a complete, total bluff. But I delivered it with every ounce of conviction I had." I saw uncertainty flicker across his stance. He turned, conferring with his officers in a language of grinding metal and strange harmonics. When he turned back, his tone had shifted. It was calculating, You claim there are other powers. Provide evidence. I can't provide classified evidence, just as you have secrets of your own. But think about it. Earth has survived for a decade with potentially catastrophic technology in its backyard. Doesn't that suggest we've had help staying unnoticed? Someone wanted us to develop in peace until we were ready. Hassan's voice in my ear was pure encouragement. Perfect. He's completely off balance. Keep him guessing. Vex was silent for a long moment. I could almost see the gears turning in his alien mind. He was weighing the risk. The mention of the elder race had introduced a variable he couldn't account for. Very well, Captain Torres, he finally said. The collective will defer immediate integration, pending investigation of your claims. You have 7 rotations of your planet to provide evidence of these alleged protectors. If you fail, we will take Earth by force. This is not negotiable. I nodded, fighting to hide my overwhelming relief. 7 days. It was more than enough time for the Phantom Fleet to get into position. I'll convey your terms to my superiors. In the meantime, perhaps we can establish more regular communication. It would benefit us both to understand each other better. As they escorted me back to my flimsy little shuttle, I allowed myself a small, private smile. We had bought the time we desperately needed. More importantly, we had shattered the Dominion's certainty. The hardest part was yet to come. Now, we had to prove that Earth was not the helpless prey they assumed. We had to show them the real meaning of underestimation. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from the edge of the galaxy. See you next time. 3 days later, I stood in the command center of Earth's primary defense station. Outside the main viewport, the pieces of humanity's greatest gamble were falling into place. The Phantom Fleet had emerged from hiding. 73 vessels, the absolute pinnacle of human engineering, combined with alien technology we'd spent a decade just learning to understand. Lieutenant Park came over, holding a data tablet. Captain, he said, Dominion communications are lighting up. Their scout ships have spotted us, and they are completely confused. Their sensors are giving them readings they can't explain. I watched the tactical display, my heart pounding. Our ships moved into a perfect formation around Earth. Each one had been designed with a specific purpose, a fusion of elder race discoveries and human innovation. We hadn't just matched the Dominion's power. We'd created something they had never even considered. Open a channel to Executor Vex, I commanded. When the alien's cold reptilian face appeared on the main screen, I let a real smile show. Executor, I promised you evidence of Earth's unique situation. I hope our new arrivals are demonstration enough. Vex's posture was stiff with barely contained fury. You deceived us. Your species had advanced vessels all along. We possessed potential, Executor, I corrected him. What we found on Titan wasn't weapons or ships. It was knowledge. Principles of physics your collective has either forgotten or never discovered. The elder race left behind understanding, and humanity proved to be a very fast learner. Every ship you were looking at was built in the last 10 years using principles we decoded from that one facility. A second screen lit up with Ambassador Hassan's face, his expression grave. Earth has no desire for conflict with the Dominion Collective, he stated clearly. But we will not submit to conquest or assimilation. The days when humanity could be bullied by more advanced civilizations are over. We're offering a third option, genuine cooperation between equals. Vex was silent. I could almost hear the gears turning in his mind. The Dominion had ruled through military superiority for thousands of years. What he was seeing now shattered that fundamental advantage. Not because we were inherently better, but because we'd unlocked knowledge from a civilization that came before the collective itself. You realize this changes everything, Vex finally said, his voice a low growl. If your species can access elder technology that has been dormant for millennia, then other species might as well. The collective's stability depends on our technological advantage. Then perhaps it's time for the collective to reconsider its approach, Hassan replied smoothly. Imagine what we could achieve if, instead of conquering species, you formed genuine alliances. Shared knowledge, combined capabilities, working together to understand the mysteries the elder race left behind. Just then, our sensors picked up more Dominion vessels entering the solar system. Reinforcements. But as I looked closer at the data, I saw something strange. They were holding defensive positions, not moving to attack. They were hesitating, reevaluating. They weren't sure they could win. Through my neural link, a private message from Hassan flashed in my mind. This is it, Rebecca. Make them believe cooperation is better than war. Not because we're stronger, but because we offer something they can't get through conquest. I took a deep breath. Executor, I said, addressing Vex directly. I've studied the history your collective shared with us. 10,000 years of rule through military might. Countless species brought into your empire. But in all that time, how much have you actually advanced? How many new discoveries has the collective made on its own, versus how many times have you just absorbed the innovations of others? The question hit its mark. Vex's aggressive posture softened into something more contemplative. The collective maintains order and stability across thousands of worlds. That is our purpose. But at what cost? I pushed. You've created an empire so vast that innovation has become unnecessary. Why discover new things when you can just take them? Humanity spent 10 years with elder technology, and we've made breakthroughs that surprised even us. We had to understand it, not just use it. We can teach you our methods, share our discoveries, but only as partners, never as subjects. Suddenly, a new voice joined the conversation. It was deep, resonant, and carried an authority that made even Executor Vex straighten up. Captain Torres of Earth, I am High Arbiter Solon of the Collective Council. I have been observing these negotiations with great interest. The screen split, revealing a being who looked like Vex, but older, more refined, with intricate patterns on his skin that spoke of immense age and wisdom. Your species has demonstrated resourcefulness and courage far beyond what we anticipated, the High Arbiter said. The successful integration of elder technology is an achievement that cannot be dismissed. You present us with a choice: maintain our traditions and face a conflict with an unknown outcome, or adapt our methods and explore new possibilities. The weight of billions of lives settled on my shoulders. I thought about children playing in parks back on Earth, scientists in labs, artists creating beauty. All of it depended on what happened in the next few moments. I had to convince these ancient beings that humanity deserved a chance to chart its own course. High Arbiter, I said carefully, every species in your collective was once young and vulnerable, just like humanity is now. Each one had potential that could have been nurtured or crushed. You chose to absorb them. But what if there's another way? What if the strength of a civilization isn't measured by how many worlds it controls, but by how many partners it has working toward common goals? The silence that followed felt like an eternity. When Solon finally spoke, his voice carried a decision that would reshape the future of the galaxy. The collective has existed for 10 millennia, using methods that brought us dominance. But perhaps, Captain Torres, it is time we remembered that dominance and leadership are not the same thing. Your species will be granted independence and recognized as a sovereign civilization. In exchange, you will share your insights into elder technology and work with us to establish new protocols for first contact with emerging species. I felt tears welling up, but fought them back, keeping my voice steady. Earth accepts these terms, High Arbiter. We look forward to building a future where cooperation replaces conquest. As the communication channels closed, the command center erupted in cheers. People were hugging, crying, laughing. We'd done it. We had faced the greatest challenge in our history and won. Not just survival, but respect. Lieutenant Park appeared at my side with a bottle of champagne he must have smuggled aboard. "Captain, we did it. We actually did it." I took the glass he offered, raising it toward the viewport where Earth hung, a beautiful blue and white marble in the blackness of space. "We proved something today, James. We proved that being new doesn't mean being weak. Sometimes a fresh perspective is exactly what an ancient civilization needs. The collective ruled through fear for 10,000 years. But maybe we just taught them that cooperation is more powerful than conquest." As I watched the Dominion fleet beginning to withdraw, I thought about the long journey that brought us here. From our earliest ancestors looking up at the stars and wondering, to this very day, where we secured our right to explore those stars as equals. My neural link activated one last time. It was a private message from Halcyon. "Captain Torres, on behalf of Earth and everyone who will live to see tomorrow, because of what you did today, thank you. You didn't just save humanity. You gave us the chance to become something greater than we ever imagined." I smiled, setting my glass down. There would be time for celebration later. For now, there was work to do. We had to prepare humanity for its new role in a galaxy that had just learned a very important lesson. Never, ever underestimate a species that refuses to give up. Our real adventure was just beginning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tailies from the stars. See you next time.